Welcome to Kidmissing TV. I am your host, Angelina Wilson, and today we're going to talk about the case of Christine Cole from Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Now, Pawtucket, as we call it, I guess it's technically Pawtucket, but we call it Pawtucket. Is a small city of just barely over 75,000 people. For a city that's small, that is ginormous compared to where I live. We don't even have 10,000. So, and it's a little over 30 minutes from me. I didn't think it was that far, but her mother sent her to the store on January 6, 1988. On January 6, 1988. Her mother was watching for her to come back, and it was about 8:15. Her mother gave her a food stamp voucher to buy milk and clams because I guess she was going to make clam chowder. That's a New England meal for, any time of the year. And she asked her mother, "Can I use a little to get some penny candy?" And her mother said, "Well, yeah, it was your birthday 3 days ago. Have a treat." So, the store was called Red's Seafood, and it was located at 286 Mineral Spring Avenue. It was just about a half a mile away from their apartment, depending on the route. Christine knew her neighborhood very well. Margie was a young single mother who had her hands full, and Christine was the oldest, so it wasn't unusual for her to run some errands for Mom or go out walking on her own. And sometimes she didn't return right away as she should, like most 10-year-olds. She had been reported missing twice before. Once, she was found in a dumpster, reportedly looking for a key she lost. She may have told them that. I'm not sure that, well, at that time, an 8-year-old could actually climb into a dumpster on their own without a little help. Something was going on there, I'm sorry. And just the summer before, she was reported missing again when she was gone for more than 6 hours. She was found playing at a friend's house a few blocks down the street. And she told her if Red Seafood did not have the clams or the milk, to walk down to Saints Market, which is just 2 further blocks. It's just right onto Slater Street and 2 further blocks. And it should be noted that Slater Street, Slater Mill, that's all named after a man who basically developed the area through his mills. She did go to Saints Market because her mom's boyfriend, Oscar Waldron, went looking for her, and the clerk told him she had left 15 minutes before. And she was a regular at Red Seafood, so the employee there definitely recognized her and told police Christine came into the store just before 6 p.m. and bought 3 pounds of clams and a bag of chips, both of which were packaged up in a white paper bag. Then she carried them out of the store. She was next seen at a friend's apartment on Wilmarth Court, 6 blocks away. The girls played dolls for an hour, and the mother offered her a ride home when she said she had to go. And the mother caught her walking in the opposite direction of home. The next confirmed sighting was at Saints Market. And again, she did not have the white shopping bag. She didn't have it at her friend's. She didn't have it at the second store. And she was handed a single mitten that had been left behind. Because her hands were so cold, and told her to keep the other hand in her pocket. It's hard because this little girl was very unreliable. She was immature. She was 10. I was the kind of kid that would have been afraid to not do what I was told and come back. But I'm wondering what happened to that bag of clams and milk. I mean, she didn't have it with her when she was at her friend's house. I'm wondering if it was another kid, although she was well known at the store, that left with a pound of clams. Now, you're probably also wondering about the food stamps. Back in those days, if you're old enough, you know that food stamps were a booklet with pieces of paper in it. They weren't a card like you have today. Excuse me. They were literally a booklet with pieces of paper that you tore out like you tear out, that you tore out from the side instead of the top, but they were about the size of checks, and they were in different denominations. Now, she must have gotten change for the food stamps at the one store, unless she had cash on her. Or her mother gave her more than one voucher. That's possible, too. They're saying a food stamp voucher. She could have given her the book. You know? And it was much easier back then for people to do nefarious things with food stamps. I'm not saying she did. She was a little kid. But I'm saying back in those days, people would take a few and sell them to someone else for the cash to get things with the cash that they couldn't buy with the food stamps. Today, she couldn't have that treat of penny candy in a couple of states coming up here pretty soon. Anyway, she was supposedly next seen at Star Market, which is a big grocery store, with another little girl between 9:30 and 10 p.m. The girl that was with Christine looked about 10 or 11, but was wearing a red Tolman High School jacket. Okay, this was at Star Market. Now, I think this girl was older. Because if you had seen me, and for some reason I was wearing my Northbridge High School jacket with another girl, when I was a teenager, you would have assumed I was 10 or 11. So, and at this time, I was 13. Well, 12 and a half. I would have been 13 in August of that year. By the fifth day, the FBI and authorities from other states joined the search effort because not far from Massachusetts, not terribly far from Connecticut. So you needed FBI's help. Um, Connecticut State Police lent a bloodhound to the search, and the dog followed Christine's scent from her home all the way to Star Market. It gave investigators a little more confidence the sighting of her there was legitimate. They lost her scent at Star Market. They couldn't trace her any further. Police still weren't comfortable saying there was foul play because they knew this kid. A recent snowstorm blanketed already ice-covered sidewalks, and if Christine was trying to survive outside for whatever reason, the frigid temperatures would have made it dangerous or even deadly to do so. Yeah, you gotta remember, this is New England in January. And January that year was rough. Um, they had calls ringing off the hook, including one hoax about leaving her in an abandoned building on Hendrick Street, which she wasn't. A local philanthropist offered a $10,000 reward for information via Crime Stoppers, hoping the initiative would bring witnesses forward and give the investigation something new to go on. But after 2 weeks, the tips ran out and Christine was still nowhere to be found. They gave several polygraph tests, all the usual people you'd expect them to polygraph. Mom, her boyfriend, the friend's mom, um, and someone else. A man who had been questioned in the murders of 2 children just a few months before Christine went missing. His name, Big John Montario. Actually, that was a different man. I'm sorry. Was led into Providence District Court on July 18, 2019. And online comments were, yeah, terrible. Police claimed they had DNA evidence linking him to the case. No, they actually did not. The DNA evidence they had was some Y-DNA, partial Y-DNA, and they decided that it matched him, which it did not. He was compensated because 6 months later, the attorney general acknowledged that there was no conclusive evidence that he'd ever even crossed paths with her, let alone killed her. By then, he lost his job, his apartment, his reputation. He moved in with his sister. He struggled with depression and anxiety. He filed a civil lawsuit. He settled for $1 million. He said, quote, "I wanted to go to trial because I want people to see what they did to me and how they destroyed my life." He said in Creole, because he was a Cape Verdean immigrant. He was 64 years old at this time, with his sister, Rita Correa, as his interpreter. "Money is not everything in my life. I want to clear my name, and I want people to know that I'm an innocent man, hardworking father of 4, and family man." And his lawyer felt it was a good amount of money. Yeah, because you probably got 600,000 of it, 700,000 of it. Maybe not that much, but you know what I mean. The case is still an open homicide. Excuse me. Okay, she died of drowning. She did have bruises on both upper arms, which says she was held down, so she was forcibly drowned, and her left thigh, but no signs of trauma or bone injury or assault of an intimate nature. Um, And about a half a mile from where she vanished was the Blackstone River, with which I am very familiar. Um, because I live in the Blackstone River Valley, which that part of Rhode Island is also a part of. Um, and it's a nasty river. Um, it's large. It's in charge. And if it rains a lot, it knows it's in charge. Um, it also doesn't smell very pretty in some areas because there's been a lot of pollution in it from, all the mills that used it over the years and stuff like that. So it should be pretty easy to tell if she drowned in the Blackstone. Not only that, there were, I forgot the name of them, something somes, that are tiny little things that are unique to bodies of water. Um, the DNA was only a partial match. The closest thing they could come was a man briefly held at the adult correctional institutions in 2014 who was born in 1993. He wasn't even alive when Christine died. But his genetic profile pointed to a close male relative, his father. First of all, this should not have ever been allowed to be done. They went into an internal health department database to match DNA. And maybe it was a police database because he was in the criminal, he was in jail. And they never gave him a Creole speaking officer, even though they had one. Um, Central Falls, which is where they were doing this, is a poorer town. It's a very immigrant heavy town, even now. A lot of Hispanic. Um, yeah, they had a stain on her pants. And the thing is, it matched every one in 9,909 males. You know how many males that is? That is not acceptable. And why did the detective use her personal cell phone to talk with the you call it the scientist? I'll be right back. I have to change it. She and Wong knew exactly what they were doing. Cormier, whichever way she pronounces it, should be fired and not given be let go and not given a pension. She knew because she used her private cell phone to discuss police business instead of a police telephone where the whole thing would have been recorded. She didn't want it recorded, and neither did Wong, because Wong knew he was Wong. You like that? Yeah. She got to retire in 2022. Oh, and of course she couldn't be reached for comment. Oh, and she believed arrest could come soon in 3 or 4 other cases. Oh, no, sweetheart. All of your cases should be looked at. All of them. To see what other fast and loose you were playing with the law. They, after she was gone, the Attorney General's office launched a new cold case unit, staffed by prosecutors and investigators. The unit effectively solved 2 cases, in quotes. Wonder what that means. Oh, and Wong could not be reached for comment either. She left her employment with the health department in 2023, said its spokesperson, Joseph Wendelken. Yeah, you need to look through Wong's cases too. It says Lovey Reyes said that's 2 last names, which is common in Hispanic cultures, said a settlement was reached with Wong last week. A release and dismissal stipulation detailing how the city of Pawtucket and the state health department would share responsibility for paying the $1 million has been drafted and executed, but had not yet been filed with the federal court as of Wednesday. The Rhode Island Department of Health deferred to the Rhode Island Office of Attorney General for comment on the settlement. Ron Dew declined to comment as well. You can't blame him there. Wow. Okay. She washed up on Kidmissing Point in Warwick. 54 days later, she asphyxia with submersion is the official cause of death. Yeah, submersion by force. There is a phone number. Where did it go? work isn't exactly next door to Pawtucket, just so you know. Although in Rhode Island, everything is kind of relative when it comes to that stuff. Because Rhode Island is such a tiny state to begin with. And don't get me wrong, I have a dear friend from Rhode Island. I've had several friends from Rhode Island. I don't have a phone number in this case. But Rhode Island around here is known to be corrupt. Half their former governors are in jail because they were in bed with, let's just say, crime that's neatly put in order. Yeah. So I think you can get my drift there. And a few of their other politicians are also have been or are imprisoned for, again, ties with criminals who are very organized. It's well known. So, yeah. Rhode Island actually is called the something something Republic of Ireland. Ireland. Oh my God. Get out of your genealogy head, would you? The something something Republic of Rhode Island, or the Rhode Island Republic, something like that. But it's like this long. Candy help. Anyway, so yeah. This is a long one, guys, just so you know. What do I think? Oh, I think something happened to that little girl when she was found in a dumpster. Something was going on. I think that they just decided that the only match that they had in the criminal justice system was the right match, but he was too young, so we'll say it's his dad, because it's Y DNA. Why not? I have a lot of questions. This little girl had no fear of walking around at night, which is unusual. And it would have been pitch dark. Even at 6:15, it would have been pretty darn dark in January. So, whatever time her mother originally sent her out. Oh, I do have a phone number. 1-877-RI-SOLVE. That's 1-800-877-RI-SOLVE. There is also an unsolved murder, which we did on this channel, Michelle Norris from Central Falls. And both cases, 1-877-RI-SOLVE, SOLVE. I will put her case up here in the cards because we did that already. So yeah, I personally think something was going on with this little girl. In my opinion, something more than just a misbehaving little girl, if that makes sense. Because any kid who's willing to do that, you know, go off and play with their friend when they have got a bag full of clams that is supposed to be for dinner, are not worried about consequences because they're obviously not given any. They might get yelled at and sent to their room till it's time to eat, you know? Me, first of all, at that age, I would not have been, even though the where the store was literally around the corner, wouldn't have been allowed to go after dark at that age. That was about the age I first started going to the store in broad daylight. In the summer. And I'll never forget it. My parents gave me some change, told me I could go over to the pizzeria or pizza parlor, depending on what you call it, and get a chocolate milk. Everybody in the neighborhood was waiting for me. I went the back way, which you can't do anymore because it's all been blocked off by fencing, which is ridiculous. Making kids walk down Main Street, which is busier than it's ever been. But anyway, and walked a couple 100 feet down the road, got my chocolate milk, came back, and everybody was standing in the driveway clapping because I did it. I was the first kid in the neighborhood to go by myself because I was the oldest. I'll never forget that moment of feeling so grown up. This little girl evidently always did it. She was 8 years old. I might have been 8 when I did that. I don't know. Yeah, I must have been about 8. And it was a beautiful summer. I'm going to say evening, like 5, 6 o'clock, like right after supper time. And it was awesome. My parents were there and clapping for me and the rest of the neighborhood. It was amazing. And this little girl did it all the time, way further than I would have been allowed to walk, especially at night time. I want to know why Mom didn't send boyfriend. And how did boyfriend think she was going to beat him home? Didn't he go looking for her in a car, I hope? Because why would he walk? It was a freezing cold January night. Why wouldn't he take his car to go look for her unless he didn't have one? And what happened to the clams? There's so many questions. And so much confusion in this case. And so much that makes me angry. Wish I had more answers for you. I don't. This is going to be a long one, guys. The first video before I even started this one was 26 minutes, and this one's 12. So it's 38 minutes, guys. And I apologize, but there was a lot to unpack here. So, God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I will see you Wednesday for the case of Thomas Picard. We don't have nearly as much to unpack there, unfortunately. Excuse me. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Please subscribe. We're trying to get to 500 by the 4th of July, and I know we can do it. Please let me know in the comments your thoughts, because I have so many. I don't know how I didn't hear about either of these cases growing up. Right here, they say it's 38 minutes away. I don't think it's that far from Pawtucket. Certainly not that far from Warwick. I've been to Warwick, and I'm literally right across the border from Woonsocket. So, and from Burrville. Or Pasco, depending on the part of Burrville you happen to hail from. Because they're both the same town. Here in New England, we have this weird thing. We have villages within towns. Anyway. Hey guys, I just wanted to end properly. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I will see you Wednesday for the case of Thomas Picard. And like I said, we are trying to get to 500 by the 4th of July. So please subscribe. Please share the video with your true crime loving friends. That would be much appreciated. Bye, guys.